News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Well, the Brair interview with Kamala Harris continues to make a lot of waves, and depending on who you ask, she either hit the jackpot and did well and stood up next to Donald J. Trump, and then stood up to Trump, stood up to Brair, and was feisty yet came out strong and looking presidential, or she refused to answer questions like, you've been in power for 3.5 years. Why haven't you done any of these things you're proposing for 3.5 years? You are the second in command. You are the vice president of the United States of America. Joe Biden has given you the reins. He says you're in there on every decision. You're pretty much running things with his blessing for the most part, or kind of doing it already right now. You take no responsibility for the illegal invasion. You blame a border bill that you tried to pass 9 months ago, when the homicides and rapes that you were greeted with, Justin Nungre, Rachel Morin, and Laken Riley, you blame those on the border bill, and you say, but we could have passed that 9 months ago. And Brett says that was before any of this. That was in the first year or two, before any border bill crap. And she has no response. She has no answer other than Orange Man bad. She has no plan to deport the 11 to 16 million illegals she has helped. She has allowed. She has welcomed and invaded our country, including the criminals. No plan to deport the criminals. In fact, she said we need comprehensive immigration reform, which is amnesty. She wants to make all of her illegals U.S. citizens. Now that she's invaded us, she wants to do that. Now, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you if you think Kamala, here's the magic question. I think the analysis that says that Kamala was not trying to win over you or me, because we're already in the tank. She was not trying to win Democrats over. She was trying to get the Trump-hating Republicans and the independents. She wants the people that hate Trump, love Nikki Haley, and once she bowed out, they don't care that Nikki Haley endorsed Trump and said vote for Trump. They want a reason to vote for her. 8.5 million people watched last night. That's not including all the online people that continue to watch. So by now it could be 10 million. That's a lot of exposure. That's mega exposure. Even the liberal Mediaite site said the ratings were, bombshell or whatever. They said something of that nature. And so this was it. This is her big shot. And really, it doesn't matter what the Republicans or what I say is. It matters as far as my personal opinion. And it doesn't matter, and I have analysis, trust me. It doesn't matter what the Democrats and the liberals say. What matters is the Trump-hating Republicans and independents. And I want you to tell me the truth. If you think she won over any Trump-hating Republicans, any independents, by how she handled herself. Did she win over any Trump-hating Republicans and independents by how she handled herself? And if you're a Democrat, would you be getting nervous right now, as NBC News says they are? And if you are, I want to hear from you if you're a Democrat and you're nervous. And if you're not, that's fine. I want to hear from you, too. We put you right to the front. Lines are wide open right now. I'm going to be playing the highlights and the lowlights, etc. right now. But chime in right now. Lines wide open. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Do you think Kamala won over any Trump-hating Republicans or independents by how she handled herself last night? If you're a Democrat, are you starting to get nervous right now? And if you're not, if you are a Democrat, if you were one, would you start getting nervous right now? Okay? I want to hear from you right now. Lines wide open. We got 4 or 5 minutes to take your call, so pop in. We'll get you right on. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. There is so many different things to play for you. And let's talk about apologizing to Jocelyn Nungare's family, to Laken Riley's family, and to Rachel Morin's family, and how she handled that, and having 3.5 years to change things, but she made it happen and got him killed.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all fairness, I told you, I feel awful.
Jocelyn Nungare, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration.
She talks about 9 months ago. They were all raped and murdered and extinguished well before that. It was in the first year or two. So the woman has no answer for it. Mike and Keller, WBAP.
Yes, my man. Yes, sir. The one and only.
Hey, man.
She's seeing the hizzy. I'd like to say to you, my man, is this. What she said basically was false because that border agents, that was the bill that they had, that they wanted to hire 87,000 IRS to audit the people, wink, wink, that makes $400,000 a year or more. So that was a lie. She should change her name to Pinocchio. Every time a lie, she tells a lie, her nose will grow an inch. She'd probably be a ruler by now.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that she has no answer for why she didn't stop those 3 rapes and murders, and she points to something 9 months ago that she introduced not 3 years ago. No answer for that. And so, what do you think, though? Do you think she won over any Trump-hating Republicans, any independents, by how she handled herself? Because you understand, you and I don't matter. We're already in the tank for Trump. So, make sense.
The Trump haters. They just hating because he tweets too tosh. They need to get over themselves.
But did she attract any of them, do you think, based on how she performed last night? Because that's what this really was supposed to be for, not to mentally please the Democrats or to make us mad or whatever. It was to get Trump-hating Republicans or moderates. Do you think she got any through how she handled herself and answered last night?
No, they shouldn't. But like P.T. Bottom said, a sucker's born every minute. And, it's just a shame that she got that voodoo that she stirred up on some of these people, and they still convinced that they want to drink the I hate Donald Trump soup. Mm-hmm. And hopefully they'll just choke on it, because those are the same ones that would sit there and throw rocks and hide their hands.
I just didn't see any good responses, any responsibility. Like, you know what? I take my responsibility for what happened seriously, and I'm going to make it better. And here's what I'm going to do. And she had nothing to say how she would deport any criminals, nothing to answer. And I think she failed there, Mike. You are one of our great callers, my friend, and I appreciate your great call tonight. Look forward to your next one. George in Little Elm and Chris in Granbury, you guys are next, back to back, right out of the box. Plus, I'm going to tell you this. Was the media coverage of Kamala's interview, was it all coordinated? Because it sure looks like. Wait till you hear all 5 different liberal news outlets and what their headline was. It seems very similar. I'll tell you what it was on each one coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, plus more audio of Kamala talking about Joe Biden's mental faculties and what she says to that. Nothing to be candid or truthful. Obfuscation once again, which I don't think is reeling in anybody. All that's coming up next at 17 minutes after the hour on the Chris Crock Show and News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. 3 lines open. Chime in right now.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
after George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand.
She didn't answer any of the tough questions directly and got feisty. In fact, it was rigged by the media. Look at this. Here is every single headline. Well, there's 5 of them. Then we're going to go to George, Chris, and Ken and Keller, plus 2 lines open at 800-288-WBAP. Harris interview on Fox gets testy, but also gives her a do-over, says NPR. The Guardian, Kamala Harris pledges break from Biden presidency in testy Fox interview. They're all saying testy. CNN fake news, Kamala Harris spars with Fox News anchor in testy interview. ABC News, Harris paints Trump as threat, draws contrast with Biden in combative. Fox News interview, Harris interview with Fox News is marked by testy exchanges over immigration and more. So they're like, oh, dude, she's bold. She stands up to the man, is how they're trying to say it. But her campaign is starting to fall apart. This is amazing. If you look at the real clear politics of average polls, this is insane where he's trending in a good way. I'll give that to you at 8:33. But right now, let's go to George. George, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit in the weeds on this because I'm a precinct chair in Little Elm, and I talk to a lot of people. And I got people that were on the fence.
You're a what? You're a precinct captain, you said, in Little Elm?
I'm a precinct chair.
Okay, got it. Go ahead.
And I talk to people all the time. And I talk to people that were on the fence. And I got them to watch that. And the people that watched that I've got in contact with were astounded that she could not answer a single question. She was petulant and she was combative. She had no intention of giving anybody any insight to herself. Those people are not going to vote for her.
So these are people that have been on the fence that you said, hey, can you watch this?
Yes.
Wow. Are they the Trump-hating Republicans, or are they independents? What would you say they are? Or moderate Democrats who might vote for a Republican but not him?
I can't really tell you because I live in a neighborhood that's being expanded. A lot of building going on where I live.
Okay.
And I don't know who these people are. I'm meeting them as they move in.
Okay.
But even then, whether Democrat or Republican or independent, they were shocked that she can't tell anyone what she wants to do. She gives no insight.
She did say, look at my website. There's 80 pages of policy on there, but she didn't give you any specifics other than I'm going to give $25,000, which is going to do nothing to make homeownership affordable. The mortgage payment will still be $3,300 average, and Trump's was $1,700 when he left office. So, yeah, exactly.
No, the whole thing she's doing is bad.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And people are looking at that. Even people that don't pay attention.
Well, listen,
starting to see that this is a bad deal.
Well, I think it's clearly trending in Trump's favor to this very hour. I appreciate your great call. Let's go next to Chris. Chris, what's up, WBAP?
Yeah, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking very seriously that when Brett played that tape of that lady losing her daughter to these illegals, okay, a lot of people probably have never heard of the story or seen it because they are watching all of the network news.
And when he said 6.5 million illegals, and she wouldn't confirm anything, and he said the numbers, most of them have never heard that. None of this is covered in mainstream news. Go ahead.
Exactly. And so, and when Ted Cruz brought it up during his debate about what they did to that woman over in Plano or North Dallas, I mean, these things are more than likely the first time that a lot of independents have heard these things.
Yes.
And now they are probably losing a lot of their people, and that may be another reason why they're going so crazy.
So there you go. Indies and Trump-hating Republicans probably didn't get turned on by her things, which you're saying. Your case is pretty good on that. It's pretty strong. Great call, Chris. Let's go to Ken and Keller. Ken, WBAP, welcome. Hi.
Hi, Chris. Hey,
Hi.
My question is, I wonder about how sensical it is to vote early, because I remember the last election and all the manufactured votes that showed up.
Listen
late.
to me. If you don't vote early, you're going against my advice and Trump's advice. And the Republican Party's advice. If you don't vote early, you're giving yourself a chance to have a problem or a crisis where you can't show up. You don't vote, or you vote early if you can. I'm going to vote early for the first time this year. I don't even know how to do it, quite frankly, because I've always enjoyed going on. But I'm going to early vote. I am going to early vote, and I urge everybody to do it. And in fact, the early voting tally so far that I saw, not today, but a couple days ago, was Trump was ahead in the informal interview of people that have early voted. So that's amazing, and that's good. That's how you win. I'm going to give you numbers coming up next. Actually, I'll give them to you right now. It was 1.4 million early votes, mail-in ballots that Joe Biden erased Trump's 1.33 million. He was up 1.33 million until 1.4 million early mail-in ballots were counted. Do you understand? That's the game. Get them in. You want to be skeptical? Then go lose with somebody else. I'm not skeptical. I'm going to win. You don't play their game, you lose. That simple. Be skeptical, you lose. Just go. Do it. And how about being skeptical because you didn't show up and vote or because you didn't early vote? No. Remember Arizona? How was that trying to go in Maricopa County? It was a disgrace and a joke in heavy Republican areas. Don't play the game. Okay. Sorry, that's my I got more on Kamala's interview. Do you think she won over any Trump-hating Republicans, any independents, by how she handled herself? If you're a Democrat, would you be getting nervous right now? I've got several other pieces of audio that I'm going to play for you with the Border Patrol Union rejecting her and attacking her, and he brings that up. Brair does. Remain in Mexico being stripped, and also Democrats are nervous, and Kamala Harris may be okay with that, says NBC News, but the people behind the scenes are not. In every single Real Clear Politics average of polls in the swing states, they're all Trump. By how much is next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227.
But you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
Tonight, the Al Smith dinner for Catholic Charities in New York City is going on right now. Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, is roasting Kamala. I will play you some of that. And Trump is about to take the stage. He is with his gorgeous wife and former First Lady and soon-to-be First Lady again. I believe as of right now it's going to happen, Melania. And the Real Clear Politics average of battlegrounds is insanely good. Arizona, Trump is up by 1.4 in the RCP average as of today. In Nevada, Trump is up by 0.5 in the Real Clear Politics average of polls. The average in Wisconsin, Trump is up 0.1. The Michigan average point of averages is 0.9, almost a full point in Michigan. Pennsylvania, he's up by 0.5. In North Carolina, he's up by 1 point. In Georgia, he is up by 0.9. The man's lead in every swing state continues to be above hers and is staying or growing. It is a trend. Nate Silver, the revered Democrat pollster, today actually flipped the script, and now Trump is leading Kamala in his polling. He takes all the polls and everything and puts it together with the Electoral College, and he's the guru that comes out with, and now Trump is leading her by about a half point to 3/4 of a point in his reading. Polymarket betting is insane pro-Trump. The betting market, it's through the roof. I think it's like 60% or something like that, or 65% that Trump is up. So this is a really slow but steady, strong momentum. Slow and steady, but strong momentum for Donald J. Trump in every swing state, in every poll. The Fox News poll flipped the script. Last month, Kamala was leading by 4. Now it's Trump leading by 4. I will be truthful. It claims that that Kamala is up by 6 points combined of all swing states, but it's the only one that shows that. And secondarily, this is from the Real Clear Politics. With 18 and a half days to the election, Trump is up in Polymarket 60% to Harris 40%, and it shows Trump right now with the the Real Clear Politics top battleground link, showing what the projections are for right now. Shows Donald J. Trump with 312 Electoral College votes, which is 42 Electoral College votes more compared to her 226. The woman is getting creamed right now, little by little, not huge, but she is getting creamed in the totality of the picture right now. We are in a very good seat. It could all change in a day, in a week, in 2 weeks. Joe Biden, NBC News reports, spent months trying to assuage the rising panic within his party, but NBC News says today with his numbers, all of a sudden they replaced him. With Harris's numbers now stagnant for weeks, NBC News says many Democrats are once again fretting the election is slipping away and that DJT, Donald Trump, may regain power yet again. She faces a new round of criticism internally, says NBC News today, as party activists complain that she is not doing enough rallies and having objected for weeks. After having objected for weeks, she wasn't doing enough interviews. Quote, she's trying to motivate her voters because she's not performing at the levels that Hillary performed at in 2016 or Joe Biden in 2020 among Democrats, says a Trump pollster in this NBC News story. Now, listen. She is, Joe Biden was up by 10 right now in, I believe, Pennsylvania in polling, and Hillary was up by 7. And Hillary lost, as you know, and Biden won by 1.2 points. Kamala's polling is bad in Pennsylvania. Well, it's not bad, but it's not good. She's a slight slight favorite over her, and that means he could win by 5-10 points. I mean, this is insane. Well, if you do the math, Pennsylvania, Hillary was up by 7.2, I think, and he won by point something. So, I mean, you're looking at a 7-point difference in 2016 and about a 8.5 point difference in 2020. Both were down to Trump's favor. If he wins Pennsylvania and Georgia, he wins it. If he wins Michigan, right now he looks like he's going to win by a point overall. If he wins Michigan and Pennsylvania, good night. So, I mean, this is insane in a good way. Now, it could all change in a week or two, but right now, he's going to win. She is flailing. She is failing. Let's go to your call. The more the pressure's on her, the more she fails. She was angry last night, too, but not for righteous anger. I don't think so. Maybe you do. Here's the big question on last night's interview with Brett Baer. Do you think she won over any Trump-hating Republicans and independents by how she handled herself? And if you're a Democrat, would you be getting nervous right now? And by the way, if you are a Democrat, call in. You'll be bumped up to the front. 2 lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. And Jesse, you are on WBAP at 7 Points, Texas. Hello, this is WBAP.
Hello, this is Justin from 7 Points, Texas. And again, I couldn't believe that he didn't ask, Brett Baer didn't ask about Kamala's husband beating a woman on the street, and there's witnesses hit her so hard
in public. Yeah, there was 4 witnesses that were there that are all confirmed with the flight travels, the logs, and the texts and the data that the Daily Mail.
If this was Trump, I mean, it would be all over the front.
And he impregnated his nanny while he was married with his previous wife. Yeah.
Right. Paid her $80,000 in hush money. Yes. So where's his trial?
That's hush money. You're right. That's exactly right. Hush money.
So why is he not going to jail? This whole thing is a hoax.
Trump didn't impregnate some woman. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the whole thing is a hoax. It's just crazy what's going on.
And this is with minimal exposure of her. Imagine the 8.5 million people that saw her last night on Fox or today on social media on Fox, and how many saw her and said she's not answering the questions.
You know, my husband and I, we watched that last night, and we were floored. We couldn't believe it. I mean, we couldn't believe it. And, you know, I don't think that the Republicans realize they are getting tremendous support from gay people.
Well, you know, I was going to ask you then, you're a log cabin Republican, and I mean, you might not be in the group, but that's a gays for Trump, basically. You are in the gays for Trump category. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, gays for Trump.
Tell me why. Tell me why. He's supposed to be evil. He's gonna put you in jail. He's evil. He's against you. He hates you. Talk about that.
You know, it's an absolute hoax. You know, we've seen a surge. We have a Facebook group, and we have seen a surge of people, men and women, and people wanting to vote for Trump. I mean, they love Trump. He's great for everybody. And it's a hoax. You know, Hillary Clinton, she sides with people who throw gay people off of buildings.
Yes, she does. Yes, she wants to make them richer. She's given people that murder people for being gay, she's given them $100 to $200 billion in oil revenue and sanctions removed. She is enriching. You know, I literally had to tell my son today, because he agrees with me on most issues, but I didn't have to tell him. I was telling him today about Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, being executed, killed by, assassinated in war, just confirmed today. It's the most brilliant thing in the world. Beautiful. We're going to be talking about that later. It's a massive deal. Joe and Kamala are saying ceasefire, 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 and they're killing them. And they were funded to kill the Jews on October 7th. And let me tell you something else. A former General or Admiral Stavridis said today on Fox News on Martha McCallum's show, he said the only thing Yahya Sinwar would have done differently is he could only kill 1,200. He wanted to kill 8 million Jews. And he wants to kill you as a gay and me as an infidel. All of us are his enemies. He is a terrorist and he's dead. And that's where all the terrorists need to be. And that is happening under Bibi, not listening to these feckless people enriching terrorists who kill gays, women, cattle, treat them like cattle, and murder anybody that doesn't bend to their will. And they kill their own people that won't do what they tell them to do. Go ahead, sir.
You're 100% right. Everything you just said is 100% right. Yeah, I saw that he was assassinated. I think that's a beautiful thing. And, you know, the Democrat Party, it's full of terrorists. They really are terrorists. They don't like our country. And, you know, I have some fantastic friends. They're very intelligent, and they vote for Democrats.
Are most of your gay friends Democrats?
No, you know, not a lot of them. Honestly, I don't have a lot of Democrat friends because I can't handle a lot of that.
You know what's amazing?
That way.
You know what's amazing? I have a gay brother-in-law, and I have when I was in Atlanta, and I missed this guy dearly. His name was Mark, and he was like a log cabin. He was one of these buttoned-up gay guys that you would never know, and he wore these flannels. So he was like this lumberjack, rabid pro gun guy, and we became very close. He became a good friend, and whenever we have him over, my gay brother-in-law lived with us for like a year or so in Atlanta, until we had to kick him out because he was irresponsible and stuff. But this guy would be hitting on him all the day. My brother-in-law would be hitting on him all the time. He was like, "Oh, please, he's a flaming whatever." He's so funny. It wants the dynamic, you know.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, but anyways, it's great to hear that. And did you switch over from Democrat to from Republican to Democrat?
No, I've never been I've never been a Democrat. I have voted for Democrats in the past. I have voted never for top office, but I voted for Democrats. But there's not a Democrat you could vote for now. They're all crazy.
Yeah.
They're all crazy.
Yeah, Colin Arledge tries to be a moderate, but dude, that guy's radical leftist. He called it racist border wall. He votes in lockstep with Pelosi and Biden and Kamala. What a radical. And I got good news. There's a new poll that just came out today, and Cruz went up. He's up by, instead of 3 in this poll, I forget which one it is, he's up by 4 now. And so he's going to win probably by more. It's the Trump effect that's going to get him more points. And Beto, when the fake Mexican, the cultural appropriator, when he ran, there was no presidential election. Bud Kennedy, the liberal Star Telegram columnist, pointing that out. So he's going to win by more. Jesse, you had a great call today. Keep it up, brother. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Have a nice
you have a wonderful evening too, brother. All right, Ken in Arlington, Trey in Duncanville, you guys are next. More audio from Kamala's continuing. And you're going to hear from her interview with Brett Baer, but also you're going to hear some highlights from the Al Smith dinner, Catholic Charities. Well, you know when the last president that blew off this thing like Kamala did? Wait till you hear who it is and whether he or she won or lost. And hint, it's great news for us. That's coming up next at 8:49 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates in billions.
It was during Donald Trump's administration that Iran regime. That we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches. Not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers,
Hamas,
has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision.
Oh my gosh. Well, guess what else? The last president, Kamala Harris, blew off this huge bipartisan Al Smith Catholic Charities dinner in New York City tonight. And so she is not there. She phoned in a pre-recorded response, and guess what? It was booed. I'm going to play for you in a second. The last presidential candidate to blow off the Al Smith dinner, which is airing right now, we'll be playing part of it, was Walter Mondale, who I think he only won his home state of Minnesota. And here is the end of Kamala's phoned-in speech, and the Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, mocking her, giving a tiny golf clap, and the crowd apparently booed her.
Standing and common ground. And in honor of the great Al Smith, let us fight to build a better future with faith in God, our country, and in each other. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
he's golf clapping.
I don't even know what that noise you're making is. Sort of, I don't know. As I watched that, I couldn't help but think of, now I know how my kids felt when I FaceTimed into a piano recital they were at.
That's Jim Gaffigan's response.
Your Eminence.
I don't know his policies, but he's probably a liberal. But that didn't sound good at all. I'll be playing some Trump excerpts too. Ken in Arlington, WBAP.
Hey, Chris, what Brett should have said when she said Joe Biden's not on the ticket, he should have said, yes, he is, because you said that you couldn't think of anything different you would change.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a very good point. That's a very good point, brother. And here, I will be truthful on this. It's hard because even me, I do interviews that I think are pretty good, and then they're like, you should ask this. I'm like, dang it. But you do your best you can. But that's a good idea. I got to roll. Trey in Duncanville, WBAP. Hello, what do you got?
What an unmitigated disaster debacle we have on our hands. She's just going from bad to worse. She kind of reminds me of the Dallas Cowboys that played Saturday against the Lions.
We're going to be playing Jerry Jones and talking about that in a little bit, too. Go ahead, though.
Well, I was going to say, I'm a Catholic, and I don't know too many people in the Catholic community really wanting to vote for Kamala Harris. I just think she's just fumbling and bumbling worse and worse each and every day. I don't think she's going to convince too many people to change their minds and not vote for Trump.
Well, it's trending in the wrong direction for her, I will tell you that. All right, we're going to be popping off some audio from the Al Smith dinner going on right now where Trump is a very funny person who was wildly successful. Even Hillary was. We're going to get to that coming up next since it's breaking coming out. Plus, there is a breaking news piece from the Supreme Court of the state of Texas. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals overturning the temporary restraining order allowing Robert Robertson's execution for shaken baby syndrome. So we're going to get into that as well coming up. All out of breaking news all of a sudden. That's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288 WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227.